So it, yeah.
How can you tell the difference between climbing harness, canyoneering harness, and caving harness? These three sports all use harnesses. You need to be harnessed in because you're gonna be using a rope. You don't want to buy the wrong ones. Yeah, let's start with a climbing harness. It is easy to tell a climbing harness apart from canyoneering harness and a caving harness. Do you know why?
No, why?
Because the orientation of the loop. Climbing harness, this vertical belay loop. Now, why is it vertical and why do you have these two loops right here? These two loops are called the tie-in loops. So when you are going to tie yourself in the rope for climbing, you tie in like this. But when you are going to belay somebody, you want the orientation to be vertical because when you put in your belaying equipment, be it a gree or ATC, it's going to be at this orientation. The carabiner is going to be horizontal, so the belay loop has got to be vertical. Here is a canyoneering harness. It also sits at the waist like a climbing harness. However, the difference is the belay loop is horizontal. Why is that? Because when you get your canyoneering descender, you clip it in like this, and the carabiner sits vertically so the descender can sit horizontally. We're eating too much donut.
Spit out a donut first.
Okay. So finally got this on. Now what I'm wearing right now is a caving harness. Caving harness, a lot of time the belay loop is also made like a canyoneering harness out of fabric, but it's also very common that they use a D-ring instead of horizontal fabric belay loop. Number one reason, in a cave you have limited light and you sometimes have to change from descending to ascending. For example, you're in a cave with limited light and you're descending down and you're like, oh shit, there's a mountain lion down there. I'm gonna have to change into ascend. You have to pick up your ascending gear and swap it over. So it's much easier when you have something hard and metal like this. So this belay loop does not collapse under pressure. So you can, they're all spread out. You can just like pick up one and drop the other. And another reason for this D-ring, because caving harness sits low, so it is pain in the butt to adjust the waist to fit you. So if you want to put it on and off, let's do this. You can just undo it.
Hello, why does your harness sit so low?
In caving, you gotta go down the rope and come up on the rope on your harness. So when you are ascending, it's advantageous for your harness to sit low. So when you pull with your hand ascender, you got a lot of room to come up.
Oh, into the wide blue yonder.
Derek, do you notice that one harness is softer looking than the other?
Do I notice from a distance? Well, this is a leg loop. This one's definitely softer. Your climbing harness. Why is that?
Because when you're climbing, you're having to do a lot of dynamic movement. So you want your harness to be as light and soft and squishy and comfortable as possible. But when you're in canyons or caves, you're sliding up and down mud and rocks and sometimes jagged stuff, so you want them to be tough. Actually, a lot of them also come with butt flap, or they have capability for you to, like this caving harness did not have a butt flap on. I put it on. Feature about the climbing harness that is very different from canyoneering and caving harness is it is required to have a lot of accessory loops like these right here. 1, 2, 3, 4 is pretty standard on climbing harness. Why is that? Because you gotta hang a lot of quick draws and carabiner and alpine draws and whatnot. Your ATC or Grigri, whatever you use on your accessory loops, so you can use them while you climb. However, in canyoneering, it is also important to have accessory loop. You want minimum of 2, so you can put your third hand, one-way pulley. A lot of us have a lot of carabiner with figure 8 or whatnot to self-rescue or rescue other people when you're canyoneering. In caving, it's generally not as important to have a whole bunch of accessory loop, because when you're caving, whatever you're gonna need, you're already wearing them. But it is still advantageous to have at least a couple of accessory loops. You see, they're kind of like minimalist.